Hello everyone, my name is J.K. Shantayal and I'm the product manager and the partner marketing manager here with VMware by Broadcom. Along with me is Peter.
Hello, everybody. My name is Peter Nedyakov, and I'm the program manager for metering of VCSP.
Awesome. So in this video of the usage meter, we will look at how we can add customer rules on the usage meter instance and how that correlates to the support portal where we have the reports available for us to utilize. So from a demonstration perspective, what I'll do is first I will help you understand how to create the customer rules and what all things you have to consider while creating the customer rules. For that, this is the usage meter instance which we have used and registered to the support portal. In order to create the customer rules, we have to navigate to the customers tab. Couple of things to understand here is that the customer rules is a mandatory process which must be followed by the for the aggregator commit. However, if you have a customer commit, it is not mandatory and the metering or the customer rules for the customer commit happens through the license. But for the aggregate commit, the service provider must use a friendly name which they understand for each customer. Under this tab, we have the rules tab, which basically allows us to create the customer rules. So we have three options. One is to add, edit, and or delete customer rules. I have a couple of customer rules already in place, but let's try and create a new rule. For creating a new rule, we click on add, give it a name, give it a friendly name, let's say customer X, click next, select the product type if you have multiple vCenters added in this usage meter instance, and then select the object type. Over here, you have to understand that the not all the objects are supported, which you can add in the customer rule. We support vCenter server, data center, cluster, and hosts. Select the relevant object type you want. Let's say, for example, in our case, we'll select hosts, and it says that we have around 15 hosts. So let's select two hosts, click next, rather click add, and then click next. Once you see the review page where you see the objects you have added, you can click on finish. Once you add the customer rule, you would see that rule listed on the customer rules section, and it will say what is the object type in that customer rule. You can also edit the customer rule if you want for the name, or you can remove the objects as needed, right? Now, one thing to understand here is that, as I mentioned, for example, you can only add object types vCenter, data center, cluster, and host. Always remember the object type which is closest to a virtual machine will take precedence over the other object type you have added. What I mean is, say for example, if I have selected host and if I scroll to the right, you see here I have this section called existing rule host, which means that this object was already added in another rule at a higher hierarchy level. But let's say if I add this object at the host level in a rule, that rule will take precedence over the other rule which has the higher hierarchy in the inventory tree. So the custom rules usually are created based on, like I mentioned, the customers, depending on the number of the aggregate commit and depending on the customer's friendly name. Now, in the customers tab, we also have another tab called audit tab. Basically, there are no changes made to this tab, but just for a understanding, we select the product for which we want to look at the customer rules audit, and then we have four sub tabs. The first one is the mapped virtual machines. Over here, it will show all the objects which we have added as a part of customer rules and which are active. We have then the not mapped virtual machines tab where any object which are not mapped and which are still part of this higher vCenter server level hierarchy will be listed here. The reason why I do not see any object listed here is because I have a customer rule which is added at the vCenter level, meaning all the objects in the vCenter level will be added as a customer rule mapping for respective object types. And then we have the missing target object in case some let's say objects are in a let's say in a not valid state, those objects will be listed over here. And then we have the virtual machines with overlapping rules tab, which basically will help you understand if a object is a part of two customer rules, which object or which customer rule will take precedence for that object. Say for example, this virtual machine DB server, the active rule tab says that customer rule 4 is active for this virtual machine. However, there was another rule called customer rule 2 where this object was available either directly through a host or another hierarchy, right? Since customer rule 4 object type was closest to the virtual machine, this rule is active and the rule 2 is not active for that object type, all right? All of these four reports can be downloaded in a TSV format and then be used where needed. So this is how you add the customer rules from the usage meter instance. And then once you add the rules, you have to wait for some time for the rules to take effect and for the reports to generate on the support portal. So here on, Peter will take you through the support portal and help you understand how these customer rules correlate to the support portal and what kind of reports we can look and view the reports on the support portal. So Peter, over to you.
Thank you, Jay. Let me share my screen. And this is the support. This is the VCF Cloud Console, Cloud Business Console. So we already spoken about this one when we talked about the registration of these meters. Now we're going to talk about the reports. So what I'm doing, I'm going to navigate to usage management. Okay. This tab we already discussed in the previous videos. Now we're going to see this one. So what we have here is an ability for our partners to download reports. As seen on the screen, there are two types of reports. The one is called our usage report. The other one is virtual machine history report, which is basically known from the previous partner program in VMware. So very similar functionality to what we had before. What we do, we select the month. Keep in mind, this is from month of May on. We select the year, of course, and we select usage meter. Now, this is why you need to put a friend usage meter names, because it will be easy for you to understand for which usage meter you want to report. And just one caveat, if you register usage meter for your secondary CSP, maybe using a prefix for the secondary CSP would be a very good idea in the usage meter name, and also probably in the customer rules names as well. Anyway, let me proceed. I'm selecting the usage meter that actually Jay just shows you. And if you remember, we had several customer rules already predefined. So now what I'm gonna do, basically when I click download, it's gonna download these reports for me and ask me to save it. What is important for you to understand? Yeah, there are two reports, so it's two downloads. What's important for you to understand is when you select July, because obviously June and May, they're already, the whole month actually passed, so you're gonna see a report of the whole month. But we are in the middle of July, 11th to be more precise, and what you're gonna see in this report downloaded today, so it's 11th of July, you're gonna see all the data from the beginning of July up to 9th. So these reports are usually like a day or two, and now you're going to see the up-to-date data, which means if you want to download the report for the whole month, you better download it on the 2nd or even on 3rd of the next month. Now, I have actually downloaded these reports beforehand, and I have it open in Excel. These are tab separated files. You can easily manipulate them in Excel. As you can see, the first one is VM history report. And this is basically the same report we had before, but there are a couple of things we added extra. Now, what I need to bring your attention to. First one, this is label. The
Yeah.
label means these are the customer rule that we have created. And if you remember, customer rule 5, 4, and so on and so forth, these were created already. And now they are here. Okay. On the right hand side, if we move further, you will see that we have basically the host name where this virtual machine was or is. And then we have the number of the cores for this host and the number of the CPU sockets. So this is, I think, something new which will help you to understand where this virtual machine lies. And if you do a quick sum up of, or basically manipulate the Excel file, so you can filter by the customer row, etc. You should be able to extract even more granular information. So hosts, number of sockets, and these are the billable cores. Remember, we have a rule for minimum 16 cores per socket. The other report is our usage report, where basically we have this is a brand new report for you. So what we have here is the product, obviously it's VCF. You have the SKU, you have when actually the measurement took place. We have the license key. Keep in mind, we track, everything is tracked by license keys here. You're not going to see any customer rules. It's just license keys. And then we have the quantity of the cores we measured. So these are the two reports that we have. Documentation for usage meter explains all the fields in the report. So it's worth to check it out. And we're constantly trying to improve whatever we add in these reports, the fields, etc., based on the feedback.
Yeah, just to reiterate, how will customer rules help here or will it not?
So for this report, it won't.
Yeah.
This report is more about the licenses. So if you have, for example, several customer commits with different licenses, this one will help you to understand for each single license what is the billable number of cores you're going to get at the end of the month. If you need information about your aggregate commit, yeah, you can do it. I mean, the license is still be here, right? So you can see the license for the aggregate commit as well. But if you need more granular information, who, let me actually open that, who from your users actually used how much,
Yeah, yeah.
this is how you can do that.
So basically, the VM history report is a report which the service provider will use to know which customer of his has used how much of course. The
Well,
report
let
is
me reiterate. So the usage here is more or less oriented to uh, to the ones that we have in the previous program, so that we can do some backwards compatibility, if you say. And as you can see here, even we have, like viewable uh, megabytes, viewable memory. So, combination of like this one was combination of, some of these plus, the holes that
yeah,
this virtual machine is there, etc., may, help our customers to understand relatively how much every single customer is using.
got it. Yeah, so basically this report is something which we'll use to understand at the aggregator customer level, and the other report is just for the either the whole customer or the aggregator commit customer to understand what's the total average for that month across the licenses they have committed for, right?
That is correct.
All right, cool then, amazing. So yeah, this really clarifies a lot of understanding of how the customer rules basically correlates with the reports and how to use and when to use which report. All right, so to sum up in this video, we looked at how to create the customer rules on the usage meter instance. What all can you do with the customer rules? Basically, you can what all actions you can perform, what all object types you can select for the customer rules, and how to look at the audit tab, and then how the customer rules which we created in the usage meter instance correlates to the report which we have available on the support portal. So right, with this, we come to the end of this video. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, everybody.
Yep. Thanks. Bye.